Welcome to Shalom TV's coverage of the first Jewish Women's Blogging Conference here in New York City, Suite Up 12. We're in Midtown Manhattan, and as you can hear, there are lots of women gathering to celebrate what it means to be a Jewish blogger today, to share and learn best practices. So stay where you are and dive into the world of Jewish blogging. I'm your host, Lisa Alkalai Klug, author of Hot Mamala, the ultimate guide for every woman of the tribe. So amidst all the discussion about networking and monetizing and building traffic, there's a very relevant topic here, and that's the tenor of your blog, the aims of your blog, and whether your blog is super Jewy or not at all explicitly Jewish. I want to suggest a kind of consciousness, a way to frame your blog, and how your blog can tie into Jewish tradition and make a difference. Now, it says in Pirkei Avot these words, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, velo ata ben chorin lehitbatel mimena. And I'm sure many of you know what that means, but a loose translation is, it's not upon you to finish the task, and neither are you free to desist from it. What is the task that Pirkei Avot refers to? We're talking about Tikkun Olam, the healing of our world. And I know many of you are already very much invested in Tikkun Olam, in your personal lives and in your blogs. And as you know, when you share both random and not so random acts of kindness, you express a generosity of heart, and you set a tone for your life, for your blog, for your relationships, for everything. My father has several mantras in his pocket, and the first one I want to tell you about is never give up. Now, how is that related to blogging? Well, how is it not related, right? Those who persist publish. So whether you have aspirations to turn your book into a blog or are maintaining a successful blog with a distinct voice, with, you know, all the tricks, search engine optimization and endorsement deals and advertising and sponsorship. It's only if you keep going that you continue, right? So those who persist publish. Another one of my father's mottos is never, ever be ashamed to be a Jew. And my parents role modeled for me intense pride and passion for Jewish culture. And I turned my father's message on its head to the positive message of enjoying the depth, the beauty, and the breadth of Jewish culture in my two humor books, Cool Jew and Hot Mamala. For now, I do want to tell you this about the books, and that their shared core message is that when you express your authentic self and you take pride in being Jew, 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 and Jew, and Jew, and Jew, and Jew, that's what we call in Hebrew mamash cool and mamash hot. And in this kind of, DIY age, this do-it-yourself age, where blogging and so much else is initiated by and around the individual, there's another added benefit when you are of service. Now, smarts may be the prevalent strategy in the world of big business, but as my friend Tamar Biddleman, also known as Mora Tamar, in her kindergarten class where she's taught for 15 years, as she says, nice is the new smart. So when you play nicely with others and you incorporate elements of a spirit of Gemilut Chasadim, what the rabbis call active loving kindness, you are fulfilling imitatio Deo. You are acting in God's image, and when you do this, God, Hashem, the universe, whatever you want to call it, however you connect, recognizes your efforts and responds in kind. So the kitzur, or the thumbnail version of my message, is really that when you give of yourself and your blog, and you perform acts of loving kindness, and perhaps above all, when you love beyond reason, you, your family, your friends, your projects, you take on the many characteristics of what it takes to be a hot mamala and a hot blogger. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor velo ata ben chorin lehitbatel mimena. It's not upon you to finish the task, but neither are you free to desist from it. When your blog and your brand stand for something positive, the universe recognizes that. Individuals and companies, businesses, everyone is attracted to the good. Important supporters, funders, advertisers, and collaborators will give you buy-in. They want to be aligned with something that does good and feels good, because the greatest good is when you're working for the ultimate good. Thank you.
So welcome everybody to the Suite Up. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you for the introduction. So you want to know how to make your blog successful online. You want to know how to make money. Not everybody here wants to make money. I only saw like 6 or 7 people that want to make money here. So I can say that the rest of you are probably well-to-do. So maybe you could figure out how to buy a business and figure out how to make money from doing that. So a while ago, about a year ago or so, somebody came over to me and said, I want to start a blog. I'm a really great writer. I'm a great photographer. And I love to cook. What should I start a blog about? So I said, why don't you start a blog about cooking. So she said, okay, so what do I do? So I said, the first thing you need to do is you need to come up with a good name. So we sat down, we brainstormed a really great name. And then she said, well, what do I need to do in order to get traffic? What do I do in order to get visitors? How can I get people to come to my blog? So I said, well, what you need to do is you need to start writing valuable content. You said you're a photographer? Take really great pictures. Buy a really good camera. Buy a great lens too. You said you're a good writer. Write with your style, with your flavor. Engage people. And you love to cook. Make good food and invite me over for a meal. Then she said, what about search engine optimization? For all of you that don't know what SEO is, I'm going to get into that. But it stands for search engine optimization. She said, what about SEO? Can you do some tricks on it to get me #1 on Google? So I said, maybe. But right now you don't have a website. You don't have anything. So first let's start adding some value. Let's start creating posts on the website. And then let's see what happens. So she said, how should I create the post? Should I create it in a certain way? I said, right now, create it to add value. Create it so that people will want to come to it. And then we'll see what happens. And then we'll add some more flavor. So she started the blog. And a year later, she had over 100,000 people come to the blog. And she has a very, very successful blog. That is my wife, Chani. So congratulations. Is anybody here subscribed to busyinbrooklyn.com? Anyone? Okay. So the answer to search engine optimization, in order to rank, in order to have traffic, in order to eventually make money, is to provide something that has tremendous value. At the end of the day, what does value mean? Does anyone know what value means? Value means giving something to people that they actually want. Providing value. If you look at the definition of value, 2 syllables, right? Value. Giving people what they want. So when you give somebody what they want, when you give a community what they want, an online community, you're going to get traffic, you're going to get advertisers, you're going to get interest. Obviously, you have to ask for those things. So when you're on the internet, in order for you to ask for traffic, besides having values, you need to have your blog be foundable. When people are searching online, what are they actually doing? They're looking for an answer to a question they have in their head. They're not just searching words because they think that's what they'll find, but they actually have a question in their mind. And Google, specifically Google, is very good at answering questions. When somebody types a keyword into Google, they're asking a question, essentially. They might be saying, I want to find out more information about sushi salad, so they type in sushi salad. How do you identify what words people are actually searching for? Well, there's a tool that Google offers called the keyword tool. Google has a product called Google AdWords, where it allows advertisers, brands, like the brands that are here, to advertise and get more people to learn about their products and services. And in order to advertise on Google AdWords, you need to identify what keywords people are actually searching for so you can create customized ads for each individual keyword or keyword group. In order to do that, you need to do something called keyword research. You need to learn about what keywords are getting searched online, which ones are most popular. Now, I tell a lot of people, everyone wants to target the most popular keyword because they think they're going to get the most traffic by targeting the most popular keyword. Well, that might be incorrect. Because if you target a keyword that's very, very popular, chances are all the big boys are also going after that. For example, the word food or the word recipes. So you might want to rank for that, but if you just launched your blog in the past 2 or 3 years, probably you will not be able to rank for the word food or blog or even the word kosher. So a good strategy to be able to rank is to use the Goldilocks method. Don't try and get words that are too broad, and don't try to get words that are too specified. Or narrow, thank you. Use words that are just right. Okay? So a word like sushi, don't just use sushi, don't use your sushi salad, use kosher sushi salad. That might work for your specific audience because at the end of the day, many of you might be targeting Jews or Muslims that like to eat kosher. Or other people that just, want to know where they can get a good kosher sushi salad. Now, not everybody knows that sushi salad exists, so you might want to have other words in there that are related to salad, like popular salads. So you could say something like, if you're making a very interesting sushi salad that has edamame in it, which Chani has a really good recipe for that, which I enjoy thoroughly.
I'm going to have to hire him for just like a few days.
You might want to say something like low-carb sushi salad, or low-carb salad, or something like vegetarian salad, with vegetarian sushi salad, vegetarian kosher. So you want to try to find words that people are actually searching for, and don't go crazy with that and make it just like a keyword frenzy blog post, because it's not going to be readable anymore. The most important thing, and the reason why I told Khani when she started off her blog, is don't worry about SEO initially, is because you just have to worry about providing quality content. Once the people start coming, then you can optimize your content later in order to get the most effective results online. So make sure that if you're writing something, be descriptive and use other words. I remember that there was a person that has a YouTube channel, like your YouTube channel, and she's also very funny, and I'm sure many of you heard of her. She's Crunch and Munch. Anyone heard of Crunch and Munch? Really, really funny. So I told Khani, you know, it has to do with food, so why don't you post a blog about that? And as a result, she posted a blog, she posted the video, she wrote a little wrote-up about going to Miami with Schwimmkleid and all that great stuff, which is really, really funny, and I crack up all the time saying Crunch and Munch. I just think it sounds so funny. So she posted a blog about that, and before you know it, people that are searching Crunch and Munch or very munchy or very yummy or anything like that that they say on that video, she's getting traffic from that. And that traffic is converting into Facebook fans and email subscribers and feed burner, you know, RSS subscribers. So that's something that you want to think about.
Okay, what if you don't have a blog and you sell products? I have a women's fashion jewelry accessory store. So you're saying what I've been doing is writing descriptions in my pictures to come up on Google Images.
If you have, if photography and photographs is your thing and you want to have a blog presence, you don't have to write. You don't have to be a writer. You can create a blog out of your photographs. And if you have, for example, some sort of a description of your photo, so you optimize your photo the way you would for Google Photos, because they will still come up, but you place them in a blog format, and then you have both. And then you're able to optimize your blog without writing a whole story. It's not necessary. There are plenty of blogs, photography and photographic blogs out there that are just pictorial. Pictures are the most popular thing that we post are our photos, and I post them actually on Facebook. I post some on our website, but I post a huge amount on Facebook. People love them. They go viral. They share. They like. Whatever. And then I actually put links to for those photos onto our. It's not really a blog, but it's blog-like. And I do that. But the truth of the matter is that for somebody like you, if you're doing that type of a thing, I would go that way because that's very popular.
So basically, you really do not need a blog these days, a hardcore blog. Go to WordPress, get yourself a free blog, but use most of the social media platforms out there, right, are free. Pinterest free, Facebook free, everything's free. The only thing that costs anything is our time that we're investing in it. Photographs are a great way to go. You can optimize your photo, but the goal is, and I use an analogy, and I know when you were going to introduce me, if you understand the story of the Wizard of Oz, has anybody seen the Wizard of Oz in this room? Where did Dorothy want to go? Dorothy wanted to go home. What did she need? She needed to start at the beginning at the yellow brick road on that first brick. It's brick by brick. It's taking the time to learn what platforms are the right platforms to reach your audience. And we don't always make the right moves, but if you keep along the path, which Lisa also said, just being persistent. So I'm going to try to say this really quickly. So you want to have a goal in mind. Where did Dorothy want to go? She wanted to go home. Where is your home? Where do you want to bring people back to? Do you have a store? Do you have an SD site? Do you want to bring them back there? All the content that you're creating should be, and this is going to Joe's point, helpful, meaningful, relevant, and useful. What do people like to do? People like to share great products and businesses that they find. And if you are a resource that they trust and you're authentic, right? You want to bring them back home and you want to provide the information or the pictures that people want to share.
How do you get that blog to become your brand? I mean, when you started Jew in the City, how did you get your first followers? And how did you build it up to say, okay, this is my focus, this is Jew in the City, and I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that. This is my one focus.
Okay, how did the blog become the brand? It first started with like a mission, I guess I would say. So that's really what's driven me. In terms of the money-making side of it, it's going on my 5-year anniversary this August, that when I decided to quit 2 jobs while my husband was in law school and we had 2 children because I had a dream. But it started really with this message I wanted to get out to the world, and that's really what has fueled me and pushed me on. Week by week, as I would go to the bank and take out money from my babysitter and like think to myself, you're out of your mind. Like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, get a job. Like, go back and get a real job. But it's because like I get emails from people that they're connecting to their heritage and it's changing their lives. And so that's got to count for some money somewhere. But you know, the the blog, and I had to first come up with, a fun name that would, appeal to people. And then the next, I think, was the logo was a huge thing. I think when people hear Jew in the City, they're like, what's that about? Oh, she's Orthodox, and they see the logo, and it's exciting. And then, creating great content. And really, Jew in the City is really just about me and my life. It's just about,
yeah. Allison, was now you have the content, now you
Yeah.
have the mission, now you're going forward and creating all that type of stuff. How are you doing the PR for yourself? Are you promoting it only on Facebook? How are you getting write-ups about yourself? What are you doing specifically?
So, some of the things, if I wrote an article for Aish, then I was approached by certain places, came to me afterwards. And, what I've noticed is that, like, the principle mitzvah goreris mitzvah, that one mitzvah leads to another. I've noticed that PR goreris PR, that, like, the more, the more you're getting out there, the more things will come. So it's really just kind of like constantly trying to find new, people and places. God willing, there's an upcoming Associated Press television interview that I'll be doing at the end of the month. I haven't announced it yet in the blog, but I guess I'm announcing it here because I just said it. That started, I noticed there was a Jew in the City fan that worked at the AP, and it wasn't in anything related to religion, but I figured, hey, maybe he knows someone, people who know people.
You just wrote to him.
So I wrote to him. I said, hey, I see you're a fan. He turned out he was. And I said, you know anyone who might want to cover this video that I'm doing? And then he started talking to his people.
If you want to get on the AP or you want to get into a magazine, there's a great source that you might all know it already called Help a Reporter, Harrow.com. Peter Shankman created the service where you subscribe for a newsletter, and I use it all the time when I'm looking for sources for articles, for TV spots. Sign up for it. Reporters go on there and they submit queries for they need Women's Day, Red Book, tons of morning show, WPIX, that's how I got a segment on there. They were looking for someone in New York City to do a segment on TV, and that's how I got it. Harrow. It is amazing.
In addition to Harrow, which is a wonderful resource, there's another site called the Reporter Connection. Just Google it. You can sign up there. You can adjust your digest so that you don't get 3 emails a day. You can, tell them how often you want to be contacted, and that's one great resource. Another one is just Google help with press releases, and you'll get a lot of information there, and everyone should have on their site, on their blog, if you do want this media attention, and you've already had some already, put up a press tab and put up a media kit. You should have in your media kit your picture, a little bio about you, a little story about your company if that's not already on your about page, or if it is, double it. Reaching out to a blog is different, but if you want media attention, you have to have these tools ready in your back pocket so that, let's say you're on the subway, you run into anybody, you want to access all the connections that you have, and you want to be ready for them.
I think that's a great point, especially for media. I think when reaching out to blogs that you're trying to get attention with, if you're a brand, reaching out and offering to do a giveaway is a great way to get attention for your brand, and we always love to give free products to our readers.
If you have a cookbook that happens to have a really great recipe for Rosh Hashanah coming up, and the kids' classroom is making it at school, then let this one know right there, and let them know that they're making the cookies or the apple pies and they're donating them to the local. Anything that you do, that you can really own it and transfer it and let the media know. But I'm going back to the helpful, relevant, meaningful, and stay on top of the trends. The other thing I wanted to bring up is think about the platform you're at, because all of these platforms can take up so much time, the Pinterest, the Facebook, the tweeting, and think about what their purpose is and how they're going to serve your needs. So Twitter, right, is just quick conversations. We were all coming in there, hey, I'm Beth, hey, how are you doing, what do you do? Although we don't want to be pitching and selling and that type of thing on Twitter, but they're quick conversations, cocktail party. I know you've heard that before. Facebook is a great place to build your brand. Make sure you have your personal page and make sure you have a Facebook brand page, no matter what your brand is. If you're a writer, if you're an editor, real quickly, I'll finish this up. And Facebook is for longer, deeper conversations. You could put your blog posts there. Once again, Wizard of Oz, bring them back home if it's an SD site, if it's your blog. And then LinkedIn is more business, right? So think about, and platforms, and Pinterest is more visual. So whatever you can visually put up there, make sure you're watermarking your pictures, which is very easy. You can just Google it. And the other thing I want to say with the Google person right here in the room, Google is king, okay? Google owns YouTube. Google owns Picasa now. Google loves itself. Get a Google Plus business page. Google, get a business page for your brand right now on Google. It's going to help you in the SEO. It loves itself. Do a YouTube video. Ask you in the city here, right? Even the jewelry designer. Here's the other thing, Wizard of Oz analogy, and I'm going to pass it on because I have an hour-long thing I can talk about the Wizard of Oz. What do people love? People love to see behind the curtain, right? Didn't we love it when we saw behind the curtain at the Wizard of Oz and we saw it was just the snake oil salesman? Give them a peek behind the curtain. Let them know what you're working on. Let them know what's coming up. And I'm going to give you another quick Facebook hint. When you're posting a question on Facebook, let's pretend it's Mother's Day. Don't post a question like, what do you love most about your mother? Because it's a stop sign. You get to that and you're like, oh my gosh, my mother, what do I love most? Well, that bugs me, I don't know. Da, da, da. It's too much to think about. If using Facebook and you want to build traffic there, you want it to be helpful, meaningful, and shareable, ask a question. Are you going to give your mom chocolate or flowers? You're going to see the comments running in. It's quick, it's easy. People want to be seen on your page, right? Because they want to see that they're connecting with you in the city or anybody else here. They're going to comment. Their other friends are going to see it. So be strategic about all the social media platforms that you're using. You don't have to be everywhere. Do what feels comfortable and fun.
Here's a couple of Google tools that you should all be using. Number one, how many of you have Google Analytics installed on your website? Okay, not enough of you. If you don't have Google Analytics installed on your website, do it ASAP. Google.com/analytics or Google it.
I've been doing social media. I'm the voice of Dwayne Reed on their Twitter and Facebook, and I took their Twitter as the brand from 2,000 to now we're over 16,000 followers in about 4 months. But as a brand, what can I tell you? What's helped me, what I see the trends for a brand are? Pictures on Facebook. We started at 20,000. We now have 40,000 fans on Facebook. Pictures. Every single post that I do, I have a picture with it. You must use pictures.
Your picture, or are you copywriting other?
No. Well, we have an agency that gives us pictures, but I also use pictures that are on Google that are private, that are property. But what I do is I include a link to it so that I'm giving credit to the person whose picture it is. As long as you give credit, you should be okay. And as a brand on Twitter, what I've also found is that really be an authentic voice. Don't just blast your message out, spam everybody. Buy our stuff, buy our stuff. Be a voice, be a brand, be a friend, make friends with people. You know, like I became friends as Dwayne Reed with all the magazine editors, with all the department stores. So like Bergdorf Goodman and me, we're like best friends on Facebook, on Twitter.
You do a lot of videos.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, don't just be like, I'm the brand, buy my stuff. You have to be an authentic voice as your brand, and people will respond to that.
If you're doing it from the Jewish perspective, I was talking to someone that's like a pretty well-known brand and has sponsors, and she was telling me how difficult it is to make a living like this. I guess what I would say is that like you have to be doing it for some greater purpose or message, because unless you're working with a non-Jewish brand or somehow can tap into something more mainstream.
This sort of to say, if you're a blog, how do you measure your success? Is your success versus this is my passion and I'm doing it, and if I only get 5 people to read it, fantastic? Or is my success measured by how many eyeballs actually see what I'm writing? Or is my success measured about how much money I'm actually making?
You are not going to make money from your blog. I'm sorry. You're not going to do it. You're not going to be able to you are not going to be able to sell enough advertising for the amount of hours you put in there. I'm going to tell you how you're going to make money. You're going to make money by putting on events and meeting everybody in this room, as many people as you can, and building those real, authentic relationships. Just like Lisa said so beautifully, and you said so beautifully, it's about how can we help each other? What can I do for you? What can you do for me? That's going to lead to other opportunities. We'll create a way to make money. But having a blog is a great, back to the Wizard of Oz, it's a great place as your home, to have your media kit, to have information, to let people see your personality. So what do people do now the first time you call them up? You're on the phone with them, and you know they're Googling you right there and then. So have a little bit of what's authentic to you, Pinterest, Facebook, a little Twitter, whatever. It's not going to hurt you. You want your name out there. You're not going to get rich. How you are going to make money is by doing events, by becoming seen as a thought leader, no matter what niche you are.
You asked about how you measure success, and the question is really, what is your goal? If your goal is to make money, so then you see how much you make, and you're successful or not. But like, for example, I have a colleague, he's very into viral videos. He loves making videos that are viral, and what does that mean, viral? So he'll go and he'll make a video, and 2,000 people will watch it. Oh man, we failed, it's what a bummer. And I say, yeah, but who are those 2,000 people? And what are they doing, and what have they gotten from that video? And are they now engaged in our brand, and are they now people who are going to be involved? And for us in particular, Nefesh B'Nefesh, are they, have they now downloaded applications? Are they coming to seminars? That's 2,000 people. It's huge.
If you have advertising dollars and you're a brand, you should definitely advertise somewhere, get the word out, and use social media in conjunction with your advertising in order to get that out there. So that will definitely help you. If you're going to get an intern to do it, make sure you're doing it right. So use somebody that can give you that strategy to do it right, because if you do it wrong, you can really, really mess up your brand with social media. If you just try to self-promote the whole time and you have a blog, or you're just posting about your products there, it's not really going to get you anywhere. It's only going to show that you're not great.
Quickly, as before I go to the question, for those of you who are basically, from what I'm getting here, and I'm going to go to the questions, is that your blog could become your brand, and your brand should have a blog in order to promote whatever you have. And just, you should know, I think it was 9 years ago, 10 years ago, somebody came to me and says, you should have a cookbook. I had a restaurant for 10 years called Taste Buds. And I said, a cookbook? I said, okay, let's first see who's going to publish it. I went to the first publisher who was local. I said to him, hey, I own a restaurant. I know what I'm doing. You want to publish a cookbook? And I will tell you, it was one conversation, 20 minutes in a publisher's office. We sold close to 100,000 copies of the first book. If you dream it, if you think you want to do it, there's nobody stopping you but yourself. And it's a credence that I live all day. That means that there is nothing that I cannot do. Can't is not in my vocabulary. It's something that I won't do. And if I can't, and if I won't do it, then that's my problem. I cannot blame anybody else. It's not the people who are not coming to see me. It's that I am not doing it. And you have to work. This is not a free ride. And as Joe said and everybody else said, if you are not dedicated, consistently, not passionate about your brand, you're not passionate about your blog, you're not dedicated to what you are doing, don't do it. You're wasting your time. So you must be dedicated to what you're doing, and you must have a passion for it. And that's the only way to get through those long hours with crying babies, while you're trying to put up a post, while you're trying to answer that Facebook and Twitter and all that type of stuff. That's like my one thing.
Thank you so much for joining us here today at Sweet Up 2012 in Midtown Manhattan. You've been watching Shalom TV. I'm Lisa Alkalai Klug, author of Cool Jew and Hot Mamala, the ultimate guides for every member of the tribe. You can find me online at www.lisaklug.com. That's LISAKLUG.com. And thanks again for joining us on Shalom TV, the home for everything Jewish.
We would be pleased to send a complimentary DVD of this program to anyone who wishes to support Shalom TV with a tax-deductible gift of $36, double chai or more, to the nonprofit organization Jewish Education in Media. Simply visit the Shalom TV website homepage and click on the Donate button to make a donation by PayPal or your credit card. And please indicate the program for which you would like a DVD. Or you can send your tax-deductible check made out to GEM. To GEM, Post Office Box 180, Riverdale Station, Bronx, New York, 10471. And again, please remember to indicate which program you would like to receive on DVD with our compliments. And we thank you for your kind support.